وعلى آل بيتك الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. سيدي يا أبا عبد الله لأندبنك يا صباحا ومساء ولأبكين عليك بدل الدموع دمع. يا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال مولانا الصادق عليه السلام: التقية ديني ودين آبائي. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. The practice of Taqiyyah, a misunderstood practice, and because of this practice and how central it is to the Shi'i faith, the Shi'i faith has been painted with so many slogans. For example, they would say, you are a hypocritical faith, or you are a deceptive faith, or you are a lying sect. For your religion is based on Taqiyyah. For your imams, as the narration we started with, would say Taqiyyah is the religion, is my religion, and the religion of my forefathers. This is the wording of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. Or for example, your imams would say the believer who has no Taqiyyah is like the body with no head. So faith and belief without Taqiyyah is like a body without head. Or we would find narrations that would say, for example, if religion was divided into 10 parts, 9 of those parts is Taqiyyah. So they would say, this is the words of your imams. Therefore, your religion is based on Taqiyyah, and we can't really believe anything you guys say. Any nice word that comes from you is because of Taqiyyah, you're deceiving me, and you're conceiving your faith, but I can't trust you. And we find this sort of slogans every year, all the time, on all platforms. In today's lecture, I will try to delve further and deeper into the concept of Taqiyyah. First of all, I want to show how Taqiyyah is a natural human behavior. Number one. Number two, I want to show that Taqiyyah is not unique to the Shi'i faith. In fact, Taqiyyah is a practice praised by Quran, and I will bring up the ayat, inshallah. Thirdly, I will show how we as Shia have actually misunderstood Taqiyyah. and how Taqiyyah is actually broader than what we think, from the words of our Imams, and how we can apply that in today's world. For some of us would think that we live in a free society. In today's world, Taqiyyah, I no longer need to practice Taqiyyah. I will show you, inshallah, from the writings of our Imams, how Taqiyyah is still applicable today. Inshallah, we will delve into these points after the Salah ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. First point we said is to try and show how Taqiyyah is a normal human practice. It's part of our human nature. For we believe that Islam is the religion of fitrah. Fitrah means the human nature, the human instinct. So any practice that Islam teaches us to do, or anything that Islam forbid on us, is because it matches our human nature. One of the things within our human nature, and I think all of us agree with, is the human instinct to protect ourselves. For from a young age, if I get close to any fire, I don't really know what it is. But the moment I feel the heat, I will remove my hand straight away. It's a regular human practice. It's part of our nature to practice and protect ourselves. So any danger that comes that would cause me to lose my life, or lose significant amount of my wealth, or lose a family member, by my nature, I will try to avoid that danger. I'll give you an example. I watched a documentary about one of the communist states in today's world. That state forbidden any form of religious practice in public. So the reporter in the documentary would go to that country and visit a city that is Muslim. However, they can't show any of their faith. The reporter would ask one of the shopkeepers, he was selling fruits. He would ask him, because the reporter goes in the month of Ramadan, during Shahr Ramadan, he would go to that city. He would ask the shopkeeper, are you fasting? The shopkeeper is Muslim. The first thing the shopkeeper does, without even saying a word, he would pick up a fruit and he would eat it. Can we blame this man for eating the fruit? I don't think any human will blame that man for eating the fruit, because he was protecting his own life. So Taqiyyah is part of our fitrah, the practice of Taqiyyah. Obviously we still haven't defined Taqiyyah, but our general understanding of Taqiyyah is to conceive our faith, to protect ourselves. We'll stick to this for now. This general understanding of Taqiyyah is enough. Now, we said it's part of our human nature. That's one. Two, let's see if Taqiyyah is praised in the Quran or not. Obviously, we are all familiar with the story of Prophet Musa, salamullah alayh. Prophet Musa grew up in the palace of Fir'aun without Fir'aun realizing that this is Musa, the person who has the message that will go against Fir'aun. Now, Musa, as he grew up, he was preaching his message to those who work in the palace. So anyone who believes in the Lord of Musa would conceal his faith, wouldn't present that faith in front of Fir'aun. From amongst those members is one of the people who used to work in the court of Fir'aun. He believed in the Lord of Musa, yet he never revealed that. He conceded to himself, because he realized the position he is in will benefit Musa more than if he actually revealed his belief, because he can protect the life of Prophet Musa through concealing his faith. And the Quran mentioned the story of this man. How does the Quran describe this man? وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانًا. A faithful man, not a regular man, a faithful man. The Quran describes him to be mu'min, faithful. He said a word while concealing his belief. The Quran said, يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانًا, concealing his belief. So the practice of concealing our faith is something praised in the Quran. Getting into conflict and shouting out all of our beliefs is not always the right choice. Concealing our faith sometimes is the right thing to do to protect our faith, our belief, our ideology. So now the concept of taqiyyah is mentioned in the Quran. We said, يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانًا. In fact, taqiyyah as a word is also mentioned in the Quran. For we find a verse in the Quran, لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين. The believers should not take the kafirin, the non-believers, as friends. Obviously the verse is speaking in the context of war. There's a war between Muslims and non-Muslims. The verse is saying the believers should not be friends with the non-believers, and if they do so, then they will lose the blessings from Allah. Then the ayah says, إِلَّا what? إِلَّا أَن تَتَّقُوا مِنْهُمْ تُقَاتٍ. The word taqiyyah is used. Tattaqu is the verb of taqiyyah. If I perform taqiyyah, then I am at-taqi. It's the verb. But the verse is saying, don't be friends with the non-believers during war, except if you are doing taqiyyah from them. And it mentions specifically the word taqiyyah. So now Quran praises taqiyyah, number one, mentions the concept of taqiyyah through the story of the one who works in the court of Fir'aun, and mentions the word taqiyyah itself. So taqiyyah is not something unique to the Shia faith. It's a Quranic concept, it's a Quranic practice. So this is my second point. Now let's look at taqiyyah in the other schools of Islam. But then we will come to the Shia school later on. What does other schools of Islam say about taqiyyah? Now I just recited this verse. وَلَا يَتَّخِذِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْكَافِرِينَ أَوْلِيَاءَ. This verse that mentioned taqiyyah by word. How do Sunni Mufassirin describe this verse? Their major tafsir. Tafsir is a book where they write explanation or description of the meaning of the verses. So if we read the major tafsir of the other school of thought, how do they explain to us this verse that I just recited that has the word taqiyyah explicitly? We find that all of their tafsir would say that in this case, taqiyyah is permissible between the Muslim and the non-Muslim. But the concept is there, not just with us. They have it as well. Furthermore, if we read the tafsir of Fakhr Razi, he would say, also from our Sunni brothers, he would say that the belief of the Shafi'i, another school of thought within our Sunni brothers, is that if the state between Muslims occurred in a way that it is similar to the state between Muslims and non-Muslims. Because the verse we said, it's a war between Muslims and non-Muslims. In other words, if there was a war between Muslims and Muslims, then taqiyyah is also permissible in the Shafi'i school. Again, this is something not just Shia, not just within our school of thought. We find it in other schools of thought. Furthermore, I'll give you a story. It is narrated that Abu Hurairah himself would say, حَفِظْتُ مِنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ وِعَائِينَ. I have memorized from Rasulullah, wi'a'in, it's a metaphor, that two groups of knowledge. فَأَمَّا أَحَدُهُ فَبَثَثْتُ. One of the groups, I've already said it all, whatever I learned from Rasulullah. What about the second group of knowledge? وَأَمَّا الْآخَرُ فَلَوْ بَثَثْتُهُ لَقُطِعَ هَذَا الْبِلْعُونَ. The other, if I announced it, my throat will be cut. That means even Abu Hurairah practiced taqiyyah. But taqiyyah is not something unique to our school of thought. We find it in other schools of thought as well. Now they would say, okay, we all have it, but you guys have it too much. We say, fine, no problem. We'll try to explain it step by step. Let's stick to the basic definition of taqiyyah that we gave. concealing our faith to protect ourselves. Let's look at the history of the Shia during the times, or the history of Ahlul Bayt, during the times of the Umayyads and the Abbasids. Obviously they were a minority. The power was with the Umayyads and the Abbasids. So what choices do Ahlul Bayt and their followers have? Let's think about it rationally. The first choice is to isolate themselves into an island, like somebody wants to do right now. Want to buy an island to put all the Shia on the island. That's one option, to isolate ourselves into one island. What's the issue with this option? First of all, slowly, if we became into one isolated island away from everyone else, we will turn into a cult. We will have our own deviated thoughts away from everyone else. That's number one. Number two, we believe that the message of Islam is universal. If we isolate like that, it will be just in that one island. It wouldn't be a universal message. So the idea of isolation is against the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. That's not the right solution. What's the other possible solution? Again, we're thinking about it rationally. The second option is to get into conflict. We go against the government, we take our rights from them, we fight them to get back our rights. That was an option for Ahlul Bayt. Why didn't they do it? The reason, obviously they are weaker in terms of number. In other words, that would put the entire message of Islam into a risk. Because there's a high chance that all of the Shia or all of the followers of Ahlul Bayt would get killed. That's number one. Number two, at the end of the day, if they were to fight the leaders of their time, the Umayyads and the Abbasids, that would be an internal war between Muslims, and the rest of the beliefs would be enjoying that war. At the end of the day, we have a lot of commonalities with them. We don't want to ignore these commonalities. It's against wisdom. Because we will be weaker, they will be weaker, other powers will be stronger. That's against wisdom. But that also is not an option that Ahlul Bayt took. The third option was what Ahlul Bayt did, which is Taqiyyah. Through Taqiyyah was not a weakness. They were wise. Through Taqiyyah they were able to spread the teachings, protect the message, protect the life of the believers, and this is why we still have the message with us till today. It's a wise move. Don't think of it as a weakness. When they had to talk, they would talk. When they had to stay quiet, they would stay quiet. So this is the Taqiyyah that we learn from Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim, that obviously all of their teachings are from the Messenger Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Okay, initially I said we will define Taqiyyah, the basic definition, which is concealing the faith in order to protect oneself. Now, I want to read a narration by Imam al-Sadiq. And from this narration, I want us together to analyze, is Taqiyyah just this, or is it something broader? So I'm going to read the narration. I know I may bore you out, but please focus with me. It's a very important narration. Let's read it step by step, understand it, until we have a better understanding of the concept of Taqiyyah, and see how we can apply it today. Step by step. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he would say, إِيَّاكُمْ أَن تَعْمَلُوا عَمَلًا نُعَيَّرُ بِهِ. Beware of acting any action that would defame us, that will cause people to defame us. Any action that will be a disgrace on us. That's the first thing. Bear with me, step by step. فإن ولد السوء يعير والده بعمله. For the wicked son, the son that does disgraceful act, who will be blamed? His father. And since we are the children of Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen, the wrong actions that come from us as the followers, they will be blamed for it. Ya Ali, ana wa anta abawa hadhihi al-ummah. They are the fathers of this ummah. Any wrong action, if I say that I am a follower of Ali, and I perform any action that is a disgrace to Ali, Ali will be blamed. What else does the Imam say? He says, كُونُوا لِمَنْ انْقَطَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ زَيْنًا. Be towards those who you associate with an adornment. Zina, adornment. Who do we associate with? Ahlul Bayt. Our actions must be an adornment to Ahlul Bayt. وَلَا تَكُونُوا عَلَيْهِ شَيْنًا. And don't be a disgrace. Don't be a disgrace to Ahlul Bayt. Be an adornment. Now one would say, where is the taqiyyah in all of this? Please bear with me. I know. Try to focus. What else would the Imam say? The Imam would say, صَلُّوا فِي عَشَائِرِهِمْ. Pray amongst their tribes. By saying there, he means the other schools of Muslims. Pray amongst their tribes. 1. عُودُوا مَرْضَاهُمْ. Visit their sick. اشهدوا جنائزهم. Attend their funerals. Now, in reality, we don't agree with their faith. But does that mean I have to go and tell them, your faith is wrong? I don't believe this is right. The Imam didn't say that. He said, pray with them, visit their sick, attend their funerals. He would then say, وَلَا يَسْبِقُونَكُمْ إِلَى شَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَيْرِ فَأَنْتُمْ أَوْلَى بِهِ مِنْهُمْ. Don't let them surpass you in doing good, because you are more entitled in doing good than they are. You believe in the school of Ja'far. They don't believe in the school of Ja'far. Then he would say, this is where the taqiyyah part comes in. وَاللَّهِ مَا عُبِدَ اللَّهُ بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبُّ إِلَيْهِ مِنَ الْخَبْرِ. By Allah, Allah doesn't love to be worshipped with something more than khabr. What is khabr? Khabr in Arabic language is something hidden. This is where the word, those who are familiar with Arabic, the word يختبئ comes from. يختبئ means to hide. Al-khabr is something that is hidden. Khabr. So the companion would ask Imam Sadiq, my master, what is khabr? Imam Sadiq would tell him, it is taqiyyah. Allah doesn't love to be worshipped in something more than taqiyyah. After he mentioned all of these. So now let's think together. To visit their sick, to pray amongst them, to attend their funerals, to do good to them. The Imam is saying all of this is taqiyyah. Now tell me, where is concealment of the faith in these actions? So taqiyyah must be something a bit broader. Obviously, when we go again, I don't believe with their faith. My faith is my faith, their faith is their faith. Yet the Imam is saying, don't get into conflict with their faith. No, pray with them, visit them, attend their funerals, do good to them. This is all taqiyyah. This is where our ulama have widened the definition of taqiyyah. For they say, taqiyyah is concealment of parts of the faith to avoid a possible dangerous repercussion. This is the first part of the definition. The second part, they would say, to adjust religious rituals in a way where that ritual wouldn't lose its essence while at the same time it is harmonious with the society that we live in. So the Imam is putting two conditions into my religious acts. The first condition, it shouldn't lose its core. What does that mean? Yani, if I want to be considerate of the environment I'm around, I decide to pray while closing my hands. This is against the core of my prayer. I can't do it. One of my obligations as a believer is to do Amr bil Ma'ruf. Now I saw a non-believer. Theoretically, I would want to challenge his ideology. This is not what Ahl Bayt wants. You stick to your beliefs and do good to them. Can I pray in a way that is more considerate to them while maintaining salah? This is what I have to do. Can I hold the Majlis in a way that the Majlis is preserved? The core of the Majlis is preserved, yet I'm more considerate to the society I live in. This is what Ahl Bayt want from us. This is why our ulama has divided Taqiyyah into two parts, two types. The first type is the one we're familiar with, which is Taqiyyah out of fear. And Ahl Bayt obviously has told us to practice it, and it is also clearly mentioned in Quranic stories. The second type, which we can understand from the narration we just read, they call it Taqiyyah Mudaratiyah. A Taqiyyah out of consideration. A Taqiyyah that considers the society that you live in. This is why one would say, how is Taqiyyah applicable today? It is, of course it is applicable. Number one, we live in a society, we live in a small world. Everything right nowadays is social media. Don't think that you are a hero when you write religious slogans or political slogans that would cause your other Shi'i brothers to lose their jobs. This is not what Ja'far Sadiq wants. Every word we write on social media, every word we pronounce, on the day of judgment we'll ask for that word. We need to be considerate of the societies we live in. Know that the word that you say could affect your brother who lives in Afghanistan. Know that the action you do could affect your brother who lives in the United States. Simply writing down political slogans, thinking this is the right thing to do, while making others lose their jobs because of this slogan, or I lose my job because of that slogan, is not considerate. I need to be considerate. And the Imams pushed for this. This is what the Imams mean by saying pray with them, do good to them, attend their funerals. And from here, my dear brothers and sisters, we can understand the wisdom of the Taqiyyah that our Imams practiced. For one of the Imams that is known for his Taqiyyah is our beloved Imam Al-Hasan salamullahi alayhi. For after signing the treaty, they set conditions. And obviously, Muawiyah did not stick to those conditions. So in theory, the Imam had the right to rise against Muawiyah, because all of these cases, Muawiyah didn't stick to the conditions. So he had the right to do so. But the Imam was considerate of the Shia. He wanted to protect their lives. Imam Hussain continued and also practiced the same steps that Imam Hassan did for 11 years before Karbala. And what was the result of this Taqiyyah? It was the protection of a group of believers that we haven't seen in the entire history. For Imam Hussain would describe his companions that he has not seen or witnessed companions more loyal or better than his companions. His companions, many of them were in danger. They were protected through the wise moves of the Imam. This is how we can learn from our Imams. What kind of companions did Imam Hussain have? They stuck with him throughout the route to Karbala. Many times the Imam would warn them, by the way, we are going towards our death. And they would still stick with him. They would never leave him till the end. For even on the day of Ashura, they were ready. They wanted to fight for the Imam. It is said that Muslim ibn Awsaj wanted to go, but Imam stopped him. He said, I don't want to be the one starting the war. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Until, my dear brothers and sisters, the enemies started to shoot arrows and throw rocks at the caravan of Imam Hussain. This is when the companions all took permission from the Imam. Can we go fight them now? And the Imam now gave them the permission. My dear brothers and sisters, Habib ibn Mulaha, Muslim ibn Awsaj, they would all go towards the battlefield. And it is said one of the first who would fall onto the battlefield was Muslim ibn Awsaj. He was relative to Habib ibn Mulaha, they were related. So Habib, when he saw Muslim on the ground, he told him, "Oh Muslim, is there a wish, is there a will that you want to give me before you pass away?" He said, "Oh Habib, I have one will, and I want you to fulfill it." Habib told Muslim, "What is this will?" Muslim would point at a man. Habib would look, that man is Hussain. That was the final will of Muslim. My dear brothers and sisters, he asked him, "What is your will, O Muslim?" Muslim would point and say, "This is my way." He would point at Imam Hussain. He would tell Habib, "Do not come short in supporting Hussain." And truly Habib ibn Mudahar would fulfill that will. For he would fight defending Imam Hussain bravely with all his strength until he returned to Imam Hussain while there was tears flowing from his eyes. Imam Hussain asked him, "Oh Habib, did you remember your family or your status?" Habib would reply, "My master, I have replaced my family with a new family. I have replaced my status with a greater one. But my master, this woman standing by the tent is making me cry." Imam Hussain turned around to see, and he found Zainab standing by the tent. She would say, "Oh Habib, do not come short in supporting your Imam." He said to her, "Oh Sayyidah Zainab, I will surely fulfill that. However, you are right now between your brothers. What is your state when they take you captives from city to city?" They say, my dear brothers and sisters, narration would mention he went back into the battlefield fighting them bravely. He would kill 68 of their men. O believers, one of the enemies of Allah would stab him with a spear. He tried to stand to fight back, so another enemy would strike him with a sword on his head. Ajarakumullah. The companions would all fall. They would all fight and fall one by one until Imam Hussain was left without companions. He would start calling Habib, Zuhair, Qurayr, Muslim. Why is it that I call you and you do not respond? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ala Muhammadin ayya munqalabin yanqalibun wal Ya Allah, by the status of the companions of Imam Hussain, please accept our hajat and our deeds. Please fulfill our hajat. Please cure our ill ones. For the souls of the marhumin and of the mu'mineen, and especially the marhumin of the organizers of this majlis, please recite the Fatiha before it aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
محمد